Hello, everybody. My name is Stephanie. You are here for 17 Habits to Weave, your hyperlocal network of community care. Thank you so much for spending this time with us live. As you can see on your screen, please take a moment to gather any last minute items you'd like to have available during our time together. We have scheduled 75 minutes. Both Ihilani and I have have spaciousness to stay a bit after the 75 minutes to answer any questions that don't get covered within our scheduled time. However, you're free to go at any time. You can leave. I think we're all pretty comfortable with how Zoom rooms go. So camera off or on as you like. Please stay on mute to maintain the tidiness of our sound space. But we trust you to take care of your needs as they arise. No worries about that. For an opening, make sure you can find your chat function warm up. Please tell us which one of these acts of care will you do for yourself during our time together or after our time together? A, B, C, or D. I already have my favorite comforting beverage. This is a matcha. B is to stretch or move your body with intention. C is to craft. I know my co-teacher Ihilani is often seen. Actually, sis, you have your crochet like right by you, right?
I do.
You do. You can. I'm gonna stop screen share in just a moment, and that's so sweet. So C is for craft. D, sit in the sun or stare at a cloud from inside a window if the outside is not right for you at this time. Or E, something else. Please put it in the chat. We would love to know how you take care of yourself during occasions of learning, such as this one. Wonderful. We still have folks joining live. Hello and welcome. I am Stephanie. So lovely to be with you all. Which one of these acts of care will you do for yourself during, so like now-ish, or after our time together? A, drink a beverage. B, move your body. C, craft. D, sit in the sun or otherwise enjoy your outside or nature around you. E, something else. I think you got it. I'm going to stop share so that I can actually see my chat right now.
Yes, the chat is popping off.
Hello. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Ginger tea, B and D. A and E. Yes, fidget toys we love. Oh my goodness. Lots of beverages. Absolutely. During, water, after, dance party. Leela has already had today's matcha. A and D, beadwork gifts. Michaela, beautiful. Samantha, B and D, it's a really nice day out. Love. Matcha. Oh yes, my matcha siblings are here. Drinking water and admiring my coworkers' impressive pothos.
Ooh.
I know you can't share photos, but just so you know, I want to see your impressive pothos. Please DM me. We're gonna move on to our overview in just a second, but just so you can all see my face, my big old face for a second. Want to let you all know just environmentally because my mic will be on for a lot of it. Thank you, Jeanette. Yes, do email a pic. This is the treatment table with a little gray spot where my dog usually lies down. So he's probably going to come in here at some point. And that's his heating pad. It's not my heating pad anymore. It used to be, but now it is his. So if I glance that way, that's probably what it is. There's nothing wrong. It's just a 60-pound pit bull leaping onto a piece of furniture. So it sometimes startles me. Okay, yes. Okay. Oh, I'm seeing some familiar faces. Amazing. I'm going to start sharing screen again. Great. Thanks, everybody. Okay.
All right, so just a little quick overview. I'm also matching at this moment. It is 8:06 a.m. here in Hawaii, so I need this. My brain is just starting its day. Um, so that's how I join you in this space. So apologies in advance for any sort of spaciness. I do my best to be a morning person, but you know, uh, varying outcomes. Um, our info and overview. We'll start with welcome, go into introductions, why you're here, four pillars, consent basics, our 17 habits. There will be a discussion and Q&A at the end, and then a closing. Um, the time that we are here live is 75 minutes. We won't have any breaks, but please feel free to care for yourself as you need. Um, use the restroom, go get food, do whatever you can. Everything is a request, an invitation. Nothing is ever a requirement. For those of you with your camera on, it's so beautiful and wonderful to see your faces. And those of you who are joining us with your camera off, we feel your energy and we love that you're here. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, I'm just still making sure everyone's getting admitted.
Thank you. We are Steph and Ihi. Um, Ihilani Cho, who you just heard speaking, is a Kanaka Uivi intimacy coordinator. I think you recently wrapped, right? Native
Mhm.
Hawaiian independent film
Yes.
shot not close, shot near Toaster's hometown. Ihilani is also a consent educator, a theater director, and a Lomi Lomi practitioner from the Ainovela of Honouliuli in the illegally occupied Kingdom of Hawaii. Ihilani founded her organization Sacred Consent to restore consent as an ancestral, land-based framework for liberation as a direct antidote to capitalism and colonization. Ihilani's work emerges from the integrative practice of Lomi Lomi and her lifelong dedication to amplifying diverse voices and honoring the intrinsic sacredness in all beings. I'm so delighted to introduce you to my dear friend and collaborator, Ihilani Cho.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I have the honor of introducing Stephanie, who many of you, most of you already know and are familiar with their work, their amazing work. It's always a joy to be invited to collaborate with them. Stephanie Keiko Kong is a fifth generation descendant of Japanese and Chinese settlers to Hawaii, born and raised in Wahiwa, Oahu. Stephanie is a coach and strategist for BIPOC, femme, queer voices. Stephanie leverages over 22 years across theater, curriculum design, classroom teaching, and bodywork to help clients dismantle systemic bias through radical public speaking and content creation. Their praxis is rooted in ancestral memory and centers Indigenous leadership. Always a joy to be here with you.
We introduce each other to you all as an example of one of our shared teachers' lessons. Dr. Manuleni Aluli Meyer, the first and I don't know, only maybe Harvard PhD in Native Hawaiian epistemology. We are very honored to call our teacher. And she says, "Do you know who you are? How can this transform our world?" I, in my one-on-one client work, see I'm in a lot of conversations around social and geographic location. And we talk about the importance of proximity to acknowledge that which we can touch as our closest and perhaps most impactful sphere of influence. I'll talk more about that as we progress through our class today, but know that this forms the cosmological foundation of what we offer you today. That knowing who you are is crucial to how you can transform our world. While you're here, this is where I yell at you with great love. No social change movement has ever survived the material bankruptcy of its constituents. What does that mean? If you're hungry, you can't protest. If you are scared that your livelihood will be taken from you, you are you have very, very low risk tolerance. And some people are willing to put it all on their line, and some people aren't because they aren't for whatever reason. They have elders that are under their care, they have children that they will not put in harm's way. And the revolution needs so much more than these outwardly visible acts of change. The revolution needs childcare and soup and comic relief and physical touch. The revolution, much to my chagrin, needs fucking spreadsheets. Don't trust me to make them, but believe me when I say we need them. If you need to find a phone number and you put everything on a post-it, that's not easy to find in a rush. Okay? However, the revolution also needs poetry, and I'm good for that. I'm also good for flowers and storytelling. The revolution needs legal counsel and phone calls and celebrations and spiritual care. And I think that why you're here is because you already know about this. You already know. You already know that every skill that you develop is one less thing that capitalistic and oppressive powers can take from you. So, we offer you this. This is an excerpt from the book that I and Ihilani accidentally wrote earlier this year. You ever get one of those like you just get on one and you're just like, I have something to say. And then 100 pages later, you're just like, well, that was a fever dream. I wonder if there's anything good in here. Yes, yes, there is. And we have a leadership training, a liberatory leadership training that is land-based through an indigenous worldview that we are hosting in late July. More on that later. It's like $1,000. I have graduates in the room. I'll leave it to you if you want to self-identify, but just know that there are, yay, Yasmin's waving. Yes, hearts. Samantha's waving also. Hello, thank you so much. So these are graduates from our leadership program that is, again, for liberation. It is liberatory, it is land-based, and we bring all of the wisdom, or as much of it as we can bear, from our mentors and teachers, because they are the kind of teachers that say, we won't teach you anymore unless you share this stuff. So that's what we're doing. Multi-login systems of change. We are offering you these titles and sources in hopes that they spark curiosity. The four that I have pictured are the ones that have informed my work from a theoretical basis the most strongly. In lieu of the other recommendations that we'll have in a moment. Dr. Deepa Iyer, the Social Change Ecosystem Map, her organization has trainings on this. They're wonderful. AJ Hawkins is a queer disabled writer and community leader. Their zine that you can download for free is titled The Revolution as an Ecosystem of Transformative Change, and their named roles are slightly different from Dr. Ayer's. The other selected frameworks that are books that I really love are pictured here. Mona El-Tahawy is a Black queer Muslim writer, Seven Necessary Sins for Women and Girls, and Undrowned by Alexis Pauline Gumbs, Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Mammals. That was actually recommended to me by another friend, Britt Hawthorne, who wrote the best-selling book, Raising Anti-Racist Children. And if you have the audiobook of Raising Anti-Racist Children, hello, it's me, the narrator of the audiobook. I know that book very well because I read it twice out loud in my closet at 4 a.m. Okay. Community organizing looks really weird, and you'll hear more about that in just a moment. We offer this to you laying all these resources at your feet because I find that one of the hidden ways of replenishment in organizing work is locating your impact, because saying hi to your neighbor sounds so microscopically small, can be very frustrating, and in a hopeless moment might seem futile. I assure you it is not. So, for examples and more to come about how to locate your actions in a way that connects them to the ecosystem as a whole. Yeah. Every little mushroom is necessary, and every little connection that you make, whatever your thoughts may be about it, is necessary. Let's go on a little field trip as examples. This is about 3 blocks from my where I'm settled in Long Beach. This is the center. The center Long Beach is a haven for the LGBTQ plus community. Some of you that are local to Long Beach might know this very well. They have free yoga classes. They have free circles where parents and grandparents of trans youth can gather to discuss their experiences and exchange resources. The black and white photo is where the center started. This was actually its second home in a tiny cubicle in rented space in a building that would allow them to pass out information during the AIDS crisis of the 80s and early 90s. Okay. Um, Before that, they were in a living room. And there's no photos that I could find of the living room, probably because they don't want to share, yeah, the where that was. It was a different time back then, and we find ourselves having eerily similar conversations now regarding the health of the diverse community that is represented by this inclusion flag. So I offer this as an example, like a hyper local example, hyper local to me. Hello, Toaster. Welcome. We're already teaching. Thank you for coming to work. That while this seems like a big building with a beautiful flag and a huge community presence, and gosh, what a beautiful mural, this started in a living room and it was somebody's living room. And if you have a living room, just imagine it could have been yours. It started somewhere. One other field trip, this is from the Pu'uhonua o Waianae is just like, I don't know how many miles approximately to Ihilani's left. Yeah. It's just like right over there.
20
Why?
minutes away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What most people think of when they think of this beach in Waianae is the idyllic crystal blue water and palm trees. Another reality, if you just literally turn, if you take your camera and you turn it from the ocean and just turn in place inland, you'll see something more like this other photo that's got the makeshift shelter. A woman named Twinkle Borge lived on the beach in such a shelter and made a life for herself. You can read her story if you choose to look her up. I highly, highly recommend. There's a documentary on YouTube about her. She founded this place of refuge because when she lived on the beach, she saw a family that came in with 3 children, and she noticed that the children and their parent needed the tent that she had set up more than she did. It was dusk. She saw them come in. She said, "Take my tent and all my stuff. You need it more than me." She said, "I'm going to go start over here, restart over here at this next bush." That person's name is James. James is now the executive director of this nonprofit organization that was just last year recognized by the city and county of Honolulu as an official place of refuge. And they have leased land on which they're building tiny homes and hosting food drives, such as the one you see in the large photo in this slide. This was started by one woman who affectionately goes by Auntie Twinkle. She recently passed away. She was just in her 50s, so super young. But it started with one person saying, "I see what you need and I have something to give you." And they could have said no. They could have been like, "How dare you? We're fine, blah, 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 blah." And she probably honestly would have just like noticed another person and given it to them. Or she might, knowing her, she might have forced the issue. But anyway, again, one decision, one relationship, one small start, and who knows where it could grow. Another teacher of ours, Ngahiraka Mason, says this: mend the part of the fabric you can touch. Mend the part of the fabric you can touch. The internet and social media platforms bring the world to your couch. As you scroll, as you watch, as you listen, as you read, much of the world's crises can feel very close at hand. And yet, too many of us have no idea what's happening next door. And you can materially impact the life quality of the person next door much more quickly than you can impact someone far away. Our a third teacher of ours, Leah Manayama Avene, who is Tuvaluan and works out of the University of Melbourne, says that we must love Palestine by loving the land under our feet. That if we see disaster anywhere in the world, we can love that land by loving where we stand. And it is only by taking this kind of radical embrace of where we are that real change can take root and continue to grow. In the words of Nyahiraka Mason, again, mend the part of the fabric you can touch. So we've organized these 17 habits to weave your hyperlocal network of community care into 4 pillars. We define anti-fascist in our regenerative way as our regenerative answer to coloniality, defined in all caps on the bottom of this slide. Fascism, working definition. I am not a linguist, nor am I a sociologist. We're working with this. Dominion, power over. Binary, separation as truth. Hierarchy, value assessment as a way of assigning power. And empiricism or rationality. I made myself edit myself, but I could have said sanity here, because who decides what is sane and what is insane? That's right, hegemonic power, right? Those who hold power get to tell me if I'm nuts without my consent. Okay, so what are the regenerative answers to these mandates of coloniality? Well, from dominion, power over, we suggest consent. From binary, separation as truth, we suggest beingness and belonging, the field of beingness and belonging. I read somewhere that mushrooms have like 14,000 genders. So much so that it's ridiculous to even talk about mushrooms having gender. They're just like, well, they can interbreed, that's fine. Whatever that means to you, yeah. They don't have a flag. I bet it would be really pretty. Hierarchy, yeah, the organization and consolidation of power. To that, we offer the regenerative answer, collaboration. And from the imposition of empiricism and rationality, we submit the relationship with and reverence for the unseen and unknowable. You might call this spirit or ancestor or cosmos or nature, God. It is here for your own pondering. Last note about this, we don't suggest that this is super duper true in every situation. However, it is enough to start working with. And as you'll learn from us, if you continue to be in our conversation, that's enough, we will say over and over and over and over. Good enough to go from here.
Okay, consent and safety. That's my cue. As a consent educator, there is a lot that I can say about consent, but for our purposes, I do want to keep it nice, simple, and bite-sized. For a lot of the work I do and the work we do, I like to think of consent as an embodied communication and building relationship, deep listening to yourself and others. And because of that, I also like to flag this moment for a little check-in. So I invite everyone to just take a moment, check in with your body, noticing whatever there is to notice. Maybe a nice deep breath in and out. Yeah. We're going to offer we've already gotten a lot of wonderful information and content, but what matters most is what it means to you and how it shows up for you. The last thing we want to do is make you feel like you must do all of these things or fit it into some sort of framework that isn't the most useful and alive to you, right? I also love consent because it centers care and repair. And so in this moment, I like to highlight that safe does not mean the absence of activation, and being in community can often mean that we get activated by all sorts of things. And it's deciding how we want to move through those moments that becomes a tool and a way for you to stay in this work even when it becomes challenging. Um, every moment of activation is an opportunity for us to build our capacity. A lot of what we're going to talk about today is about building capacity, about kind of just stretching our edges and finding where we can grow and where we can touch our community in a way that is sustainable for ourselves and others. Um, so find and stretch your limits. Notice how my stress responses might manifest. Not making judgments about those things, but we're always noticing. Um, and once we notice, we can decide what we want to do with that. And then we can also update our boundaries. That is always an option as well. Like maybe you decide, you know what, I tried that, and that isn't for me, and that is okay too. Yes. And so we bring you 17 habits to weave your hyperlocal network of community care. That's what this is all about. It's what gets us really excited, is caring for one another. And so this is our big flashing reminder. While nowhere near complete, this list will get you thinking about what other actions you can take. So 3 reminders before we dive in. Start now. That doesn't mean like now you must like just go, but yeah, like how, can you say hi to a neighbor today? You know what I mean? Like what is just the most accessible thing right now? Messy is okay. Messy is beautiful. And imperfection is expected. None of this can be done perfectly ever. We release ourselves from the pressure to do things and always get it right and never do anything wrong. Yes. Okay, wonderful. Thank you all. I hand it over to Stephanie.
Rock and roll. Okay. We have organized the 17 habits according to the pillars, and there's a secret fifth pillar that you'll see in a moment. These 3 in the way of collaboration, working together across differences toward a shared goal. Number 1, navigate to regular destinations without using an app. This does a couple things. It activates the anterior hippocampus. So says my neuroscience spatty friends. I don't really care about that because I couldn't point to my hippocampus if you showed it to me in a diagram. However, what I do know is that it feels really cool when I can give directions with landmarks instead of typing it into my digital device that could be surveilled. Yeah. I live in LA. Okay. You can also learn the streets between your home and the regular places and your regular destinations. There's a bread shop like 7 blocks that way relative to me, and I know about 3 out of the 4 streets that cross it. And I don't know that in order. And that would horrify my grandma because she walked everywhere, right? So there are ways that you can find your orientation in a neighborhood, like in a really cool way. Just stretch your brain. It's kind of a brain puzzle in addition to evading digital surveillance. Yeah. Number 2, play cooperative games. I'm gonna shout out Amber. Amber of the Hello Code. Hey, Amber. Her camera's on. She's waving. Is a workshop designer who focuses on workshops as world building. Highly recommend that you follow Amber. The skills of collaboration, you can literally practice them in a lower stakes environment by using tabletop gaming. Theater games are also great. Games are also great. A book, if you're a booky kind of person, Augusto Boal wrote, I don't remember what the title is, but it's like Games for People. It's like a really like cheeky title. It teaches you verbal communication. It hones the skills of verbal communication, active listening for intentions, and solutions as challenges arise, practices openness to ideas outside your own perspective, and gives them a chance to play, right? Gives you a chance to interact with them, as well as practice cooperating instead of competing, especially in the context of games where there's like points and like you win or you lose. Cooperative games are a way to kind of microdose the kind of community cooperation and then later be able to operationalize those skills if you so choose. Number three, cultivate a manual skill to support daily life that you can share with others. This reduces our dependence on broken systems, turns your knowledge into a resource for your community. It might be learning how to fix a bike. It might be being really tall so that you can get stuff off the roof without getting a ladder. It could be having really sharp eyes where you can untangle someone's, their thing that always gets tangled. Braid hair, unclog a drain, grow food. Anything that requires regular maintenance or repair is great. My partner, for example, don't tell her building this, but he could change the light from that horrible, like cool, like the down lighting that's like super homophobic to me, like that lighting. He'd change it to be warm. What? He could do that. Don't tell our building management. You could do that. We all look cute now outside. These three. Okay, starting off points.
Okay, so consent, right relationship with self, land, partners, friends, and community. If I'm talking about consent, I within the first 2 minutes will start talking about land. That can be confusing for some people, but it is not confusing if you're familiar with an indigenous worldview. I believe that our relationship to ourselves and one another, and how we are treated and treat others, comes back to how we treat the land. Our bodies and our land is always connected. Um, and I believe that one of the first violent acts of empire was severing us from land, one of the very first major consent violations. And so, how do we repair those relationships with land, with ourselves, with others? Well, we can start in really small ways. Disobey on purpose. Starting small. So that might be wearing something that is too fancy for a function. You can briefly obstruct public space to take a photo. And then just getting your body familiar with what it feels like to create small, harmless disturbances within all these like very oppressive systems. Everything about this is somatic rehearsal for bigger disruptions. So preparing our bodies to gradually and be prepared for larger things. You can sing in a quiet place, um, and then just get comfortable with what it feels like to take up more space in whatever space you're in. Knowing the land under your feet by name, um, so you can learn the original people's names for land. That is an important way to build relationship. Bringing these names back to these places increases our relationship backwards and forwards through time with land. Um, you can research indigenous organizations in your area, um, and also just cultivating that relationship with land can also look like what are your names for these places. I know that many families have their own, like oh, like that park is officially named this, but we've always called it Triangle Park because it's shaped like a triangle, like those that history, and relationship is important too. So know the land under your feet by name, and if you don't know its name, you can always ask it. um, Asking for help and offer to help others. Sounds simple, can be, I'll call myself out. I have a difficult time asking for help. You know, some people on this call might know that about me. But but we practice. So the requesting and receiving starts to strengthen that relationship as well, right? So let someone hold the door for you. Let someone explain something to you, or you know, carry a bag. And sometimes I'm like, no, I got it, and they're like, yeah, but like you don't have to, you know, like that sort of thing. Um, Interdependence is like a muscle, so we want to exercise that muscle, and so we graciously accept care, and then we can also practice offering it proactively. um, so you see a need and you fill it. There was a great example, right? Auntie Twinkle saw the need, for that family, to have a tent, you know, and it really wasn't a question. It's just it was offered, freely and, proactively. So just highlighting that mutual aid is a net that is woven by one helpful connection at a time. Yeah.
Beingness and belonging, we define in short as spaciousness, compassion, plurality, and this includes self-knowledge. The three we have here are number 7, attend in-person community events. Um, I need this one a lot. Make a habit of getting out of the house for activities besides school, work, and errands. Yeah, this could be, I'm just going to list examples and as you let this list wash over you, please imagine and maybe even put in the chat places that you've been meaning to check out that are local to you. Okay, I'm going to say a list. You be thinking of your own, contribute in the chat so that we make this list even bigger. Garden Volunteer Day, School Craft Fair, Open Mic Night, City Council Meeting, Karate class, hula class, hip hop class, pole class, pottery, canning vegetables, American Sign Language, dog training, dog skateboarding, dog camping. Long Beach loves our dogs. Something at the library, something at the YMCA, YWCA, or other community center, your local community college. We got stuff in the chat. We got stuff in the chat. Check out the chat. Physical presence is a foundational building block of community. And that doesn't mean you have to show up every time or that you have to marry the organization. I call it getting married to the organization. Like, because you show up at one garden volunteer day doesn't mean that you have to keep showing up every single time. Trust me, the organizers know that you don't know when you're available. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to feel bad about it. You could literally just show up and then leave when you want to or need to. Um, as somebody that's organized in physical space for many years, it is so much more impactful to have somebody show up for a short time than to not show up at all. Some classes and workshops and volunteer days are one time, and sometimes they're semester long or even year long endeavors. You'll pick the thing that's right for you, and everything that I said before this still applies. Like you can sign up for a semester and just go to the first class. It's okay. There are things that cost money. There are things that don't cost money. There are things that are really, really close to you, and there are things that are a drive, but maybe it's worth it. So you never know until you check your area. There's always, in the coffee shops around here, there's always a community bulletin board. And in that coffee shop, there's usually somebody that knows what the heck's going on. So if you have questions, just tug on the resources that are available. Number 8, get to know your neighbors and keep getting to know them better. Names are a great start. I just sent out an email this morning, maybe you read it, about how my great grandparents are from Lahaina, Maui. Some of you might know that 3 years ago, Lahaina burned to the ground because of environmental mismanagement and drought conditions based on the theft of water. Okay? This has been going on for more than 100 years. The catastrophic fires made it so that the entire nothing was salvageable in that town. The house where my great grandmother gave birth to my grandmother in the kitchen burned to the ground. The reason why people survived was because their neighbors yelled each other's names. Imagine if you know the names of your neighbors, you could yell them. You are getting what I'm not saying. I hope someone knows your name too. I hope someone yells for you. Okay? And I know it's like, believe me, I live in LA. We got creepy ass people over here. We also have fucking champions over here. There's a guy that Joel, my partner, is an amputee. He makes friends with a lot of people because he's also an athlete. So he'll go out on a run and people yell at him, just like, good job, five toes, or like, you're such an inspiration, or whatever. We can talk about disability justice in a different conversation. This is all disability justice in the conversation, by the way. Sidebar. Anyways, he's running down the street and there's a guy that lives outside. He's got kind of like a route and he's got some mental things that he's working with. There's about three different people that are inside this one body, right? Three personalities. And Joel is friends with two of them. And he will say hi every time, not knowing if it'll be the one that kind of doesn't like him. But anyways, so it's possible. It's possible, even in really challenging, adverse situations. Your safety is the most important thing. Don't do anything that makes you feel unsafe. And also, I offer this thing so that our practice is to be curious as opposed to dismissive. Okay? Yeah. I think you know what I'm saying. All right, number 9, become a regular somewhere local and affordable or free. This is another activity for the chat. If you like, I'm going to say a list of things that are either very affordable or free. And be thinking about other things. Or maybe if I say like park bench, you can name the park that's close to you. Or say, I know the name of the park if you don't want to disclose your neighborhood. Okay. Somewhere where they'll greet you by name, or you'll say hi to the same dogs all the time, or they'll remember your preferences or whatever. Library, coffee shop, park bench, neighborhood bar, pet groomer, pizza place. There's a story that's going around the internet about an order that would come in at 6 p.m. every day for an old guy living alone, ordered a pizza every single day. Pizza, Leela knows, Leela's nodding. And then one day the pizza order didn't come in and they called the cops, and that's how they saved the guy's life. Listen, if that's an urban legend, that's fine with me. Take the lesson anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are ways. Um, there's a long distance runner dude that always stops at the coffee shop. It's called Black Dog. It's like it's blocks that I'm pointing in a different direction, as if you all know where I live. Just like right over there, right? It's called Black Dog Coffee, and the long distance runner dude has like stunner shades and locks and like neon running shoes, and he always fist bumps the dude sitting in the corner with his commuter unicycle. I'm just gonna let that sink in. Yeah. And the runner dude always asks for a refill of water. I've never seen him buy anything. And the commuter unicycle dude sitting in the corner always has his coffee in a For Here mug. And they're just like, "What's up, man? Yeah, it's hot out there today. Have a good one. Be safe." The barista, the coffee people that work there all know him. I've known that they know my dog. They say hi to Toaster. I still don't know their names. I've just called them Unicycle Dude and Runner Dude in my head, but I'm gonna take my own class and ask for their names one day just so I can say hi in a more personable way. All right? The like there are ways. There are ways.
Okay, before I move on to the unseen and unknowable, Stephanie, I just want to flag for you that the chat has been popping off and it's really delightful in there. And while you were actively teaching, I didn't think you had an opportunity to look at it. So just you have a little peek when you can. It's really
Thank
good.
you. You all are the best. I'm just disclosure from the workshop side of things. I'm sharing in full screen so that I can make sure everything's in the right spot, which means if I open the chat, it'll disrupt the screen share. So Ihilani is officially piloting the chat and I'm piloting the slides. And I'm just like, what's in there? Because I'm a nosy bitch. But
I
well,
haven't
well,
even been able to keep up. It's piloting itself. It's really, it's quite beautiful.
We'll visit as soon as the slides are done. We're almost there, you all. Thank you so much.
Okay, the unseen and the unknowable, cosmos, spirit, ancestors, intuition, and non-linearity. Um, yeah, there's so many ways that you can like cultivate this relationship in big and small ways. One of the best ways is to move your body for joy. Dance for no reason. Lay in the sun like a cat or a dog, you know. Um, you can. I'm an adult and I still love to swing on swing sets. Like that has always been just like you can't tell me nothing if I'm on a swing. You know what I mean? Like come get me when it's dark. You know. Um, this is distinct from working out. We can talk more about that later. This is more of just like embodying joy in movement, whatever that means to you. Um, and and it grows with repetition, just like anything else. And I'm so grateful for this reminder because I need it all the time. And it's like it's one of those things where it's like I fear it works, like oh no, I should just move my body more, and so many other things fall into place if I do that. Um, Dedicate time to an art making practice. And this is creating just for the sake of creation. Similar to moving your body for joy, the effects are aggregate and it keeps your inner world fertile. The more you're creating, the more your brain is activated in a particular way that makes it possible to create other things, like things that might dismantle all the oppressive systems that we're in, just little things like that. But yeah, that can stem from maybe collage or pottery, playing guitar, even if you're not very good at it. Maybe you try stand up comedy or improv. This can also overlap with craft skills, um, which is the next one, right? So, cultivate a craft skill that augments daily life. So my favorite way to do that is I took up crochet not that long ago. It's just 3D printing, but with yarn. And I made this case for my iPad. And now I crochet things for people all the time, um, varying levels of use. But yeah, you can also knit, whittle, throw pottery. Um, any hands on work is just a balm for breaking the cycles of like scrolling and outrage and for me it helps me feel like I'm not powerless, like I have the ability to change something, right? Like mend the part of the fabric you can touch. um, and this may also overlap with manual skills. And then committing to regular quiet time, sometimes the hardest thing to do, honestly. But even 2 or 3 minutes um, of respite from the constant dopamine loop that might be created through all these kind of modern effects um, is enough to change your brain chemistry. I've started committing to not, starting my morning and immediately looking at my phone. And it can be really difficult, but I just started with, like I'm going to take 10 deep breaths and I'm going to check in with my body, and then from there I'll see, right? And quite often I realize after that, like I don't need, like I've severed that sort of impulse, right, to pick up my phone. Um, so yeah, the idea is no agenda, but screen time free. It's so easy to do this if you go outside, and just say hi to the world, talk to a tree, look at a cloud, let your mind wander, or just be bored. I've been trying to like rekindle my ability and affinity for being bored like I was when I was a child. Some of my best thinking is done when I'm bored, you know? So, like, I don't know, like, I'm gonna trace the wood grain in my floor or something like I used to do.
Who among us has not laid on their back with their feet pointed up and been like, I can walk on the ceiling?
Exactly.
Literally, who came up with that? A bored person.
A very bored person. Yeah.
Nobody that's got shit to do is doing that shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Be bored. Stand in a line and don't look at your phone. And you start noticing some really interesting things, you know? Yeah. Back to you, Steph.
Anti-fascist exercise. This is category number 5. This is our secret fifth category, resilience training for the broligarchs, where the broligarchs want us atrophied. This is sort of, uh, it was born out of the fact that the previous category just got huge, and these are the 4 skills that can change the way you view the world and therefore what imaginative and building capacity is available to you. I'm not saying that you have, again, just as a reminder, we're not saying you have to do all these things, but just to consider and maybe try and then see how your system, how your beingness um, changes as you practice these things. 14, 15, 16, 17. Number 14, move your body for strength, i.e., work out. Notice this is different from move your body for joy. While moving your body for joy or for exploration might be a creative endeavor, number 14 is actually training. I sometimes accompany my partner on, he's an adaptive athlete, formerly and then soon to be again competitive in the world on the world stage. Okay. So when he shows up in sport, he is representing amputees that are not at that level of practice yet. So there's little kids that come up to him that didn't know that they could do that, and we all like weep and stuff. And in order to support him, I need to do altitude training, otherwise I'll pass out. The way I'm not even kidding. Yeah. So I go to the gym and I use these same muscles to help build things that need building. I use these same muscles to lift things that need lifting. And there are 2 movements that you might have come across online that I find hilarious. One of them is called the swoletariat movement. That's like get strong because they want you weak. Yeah. Go ahead and look that up. That's hilarious. Number 2 is called Stronger Than Them. And this was back when ICE was recruiting really publicly and heavily, and they posted their recruitment minimums for like a physical aptitude test, and those minimums were abysmal. You needed to run a mile in like 17 minutes. My mom can do that. My mom's about to be a retired preschool teacher. Let's just say she doesn't run unless she has to. Like, and she never has to. Okay. So stronger than them, stronger than ice was another movement. You can Google that and you'll see. And just like, I can outrun them. I don't want to have to, but it just helps me. It keeps me going. Keeps me going when I don't feel like going. Number 15, read long form content. There are reams of research that I won't cite here on dwindling literary comprehension being one of the reasons why we aren't more civically engaged. Um, Often, because of the way that this stuff is presented in the public sphere, in the agora, it's like, oh, you have to read theory. And so it's like, well, I haven't read a book in, since college, and I want to read Franz Fanon, which is like really dense. You're right. I'm gonna read Paulo Freire. And Pedagogy of the Oppressed is a wonderful book. I highly recommend it. It is not something you should read if you haven't picked up a book in recent history. It will make you fall asleep. It makes me take a shit and fall asleep because that's what I do when I'm overwhelmed. Okay? Don't do that. Read a Substack. Read fairy smut. Reread the books that shall not be named, but there's wizards in them. Okay, get them used. Don't put money in those pockets. But you know what I'm saying? Like read something or reread something enjoyable such that you can hold a long form thought. And then when you feel ready, move on to something that's a little more in the direction. Scaffold yourself, walk yourself through the transition. Um, I read a lot of feminist fairy smut and I read a lot of political theory. Both of them count as long form content. I will give recommendations, but not in public. Okay, number 16, speak with the intention to clarify your thinking. This can be out loud. This could be on record. This could be while you're by yourself in the car. This could be because you have something important to say, such as testimony at a city council meeting. It could be because you're on your way to a conflict resolution for an organization that you volunteer for. It could be like you're going to tell your crush that you like them, but say it out loud. Get the words in your actual mouth, on your actual voice, supported by your actual breath because there's a recursive loop that can only happen when your outward expressive stuff meets your inward receptive system. This cannot happen unless you say stuff out loud. Start a podcast. Okay, dramatic pause. You can practice a joke. Here's my as a public speaking coach and as a career actor, the practice that I encourage people to do is tell a story that actually happened to you and practice it like you're telling a joke. Nobody tells a joke just like, hold on, let me get my script. Knock, knock. Nobody does that. They practice it. They're just like two guys walking into a bar, and the bar was in Long Beach. You know, like you add to it or subtract from it as befits the setting and the audience. So stories can be like this. So can public speaking. And I say this as somebody who has coached 10 speakers. So I offer this to you. When you hear your own convictions and questions in the air, you can refine them with greater ease and clarity. Your voice is also a physical tool. So if say you're learning choreography and there's a really intricate step that you're learning, by practicing it over and over, your body gets its own intelligence activated. So too with vocabulary concepts and frameworks as you explain them. The more you do this, the more your mouth and your gestural understanding of the world becomes fluent in the material you're communicating. Yes, I can't say anti-disestablishmentarianism without first practicing it in my mouth. Did I practice that word before today? Yes, I did, because I was just like, I'm going to use this as an example. So I put it in my mouth before I needed to do it in front of you all. Lastly, number 17, write and edit what you write. Listen, AI users, you can use AI. That's, there you still have free will. I'm not policing you. It is different. It's a different thing. When you write stuff and then you edit what you write and you sit with your own words and you go, there must be a better way to say that. And then you work the problem until you end up on your back with your feet walking on the ceiling and you're just like, oh my God, breakthrough, because I was so bored. Do you see how these go together? You don't have to post it or share it. It could be um, like in your journal, but the point is not free write. The point is then edit what you write. The refinement is part of the process. It could be a letter, it could be a poem. The process of finding your own words and choosing them and re-choosing them with care is a revolutionary act of self-trust. By refining my ideas in my writing and in my editing, I can more clearly speak them to you all. When I can clearly speak them to you all, I become a dangerous person in the eyes of fascism because I can think for myself, I can cite my sources, and I can do it again. Yeah. Thank you for the hearts. Okay. You're now you picking up what we're putting down. This shit stacks to dismantle empire, but it begins with the body that you have, the life circumstances that you have, the ideas that you have in the place that you are. You don't need to go out and get anything, buy anything, learn anything. You have what you have right now, and this is perfect because soon you will have more and know more and do more and bring it to the place where you stand because growth is inevitable.
We're bringing the slide back. We're bringing this back to remind you of the consent and safety practice that is interwoven with all of this. In any first aid, CPR, mental health first aid training, the first step is always assessing for safety, right? And so that's no different here. Whatever that means for you and the circumstances that you are approaching, um, it's always important to remember that. Um, I There is a neighbor that I have that I don't um, say hi to, and there's safety reasons for that, you know. And then there's many other neighbors that I do, right? And so we just offer this, and also a reminder that this list is not something to take and say, I must do all these things all the time. I say into the space for myself and for everyone else that we are not going to contribute to our own burnout. We are going to trust that the work is good and the work is being done, and we're holding each other in this work, and growing and learning in community with one another through this work. And so, this is our letter to you all to just remember no list could possibly be exhaustive, and this one surely isn't. And even so, we are now more knowledgeable and more helpful after simply reading through this list, because our collective power just increased in 17 specific ways. So, Stephanie will say this a lot: power literally means the capacity to do something. So, what is our capacity to do something? Anything at any given point. Like, you have capacity, you have power. We just invite you to use it, because we aren't cooked, we take care of us, and we keep us safe.
So, we would be remiss, Ihilani and I, if we didn't offer you something in the way of support. I will tell you right away that this is a paid thing because this class is free. You have literally all of our notes. This is everything that we have to present to you. This 2-week online immersion will give you some new information, but all of it is supportive. Okay? It is 140 bucks for 14 days. So it's $10 a day, and you get us on a signal chat with a daily assignment related to one or a handful of related items in the list of 17 habits. We'll talk it out. We'll coach you through it. There are also 2 calls, one at the start on June 15th and one at the end, TBA, depending on if people are available during the weekend or if we're pushing it to the following Monday. Now, the reason why, Ihilani, will you drop this link in the chat? The reason why I'm giving this to you now here is because you signed up for this class, which means no one will be turned away for an inability to pay. $140 allows Ihilani and I to continue offering free community work like this. It pays for the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure that like Zoom is not free for organization or for meeting details of this type, this kind of things. Email, I sent you all emails. They were from a paid provider that keeps all of your info safe. So your contribution helps us continue offering this kind of stuff. That is what the money is going toward. And if you, for any reason, and I will never ask you for an explanation, never ever, if you say, hey, I would like the discount code, please, I'll say, great, here it is. And it is for $100 off. So for like $3 a day, if you can. There is I can also let you in for free. We're just trying not to do that because we still have costs. But if you're just like, I will sell, my hair to get no, just tell me. I got you. We're not gonna we okay. Um I have a couple more notes just to yell at you with great love. Questions arise. Why don't we already do these 17 habits? Why did I have an aha moment? Maybe you did. Why are these 17 habits revelatory or new to so many of us? Why aren't these 17 habits passed down generationally? Short answer, colonization. From our teacher, who I mentioned closer to the beginning, Leah Manayama Avene. Colonization, the definition of colonization. Colonization is the maintenance of forced access. From Ihilani's teaching earlier, the severance of people from land is colonization's first consent violation. Literally all of the 17 habits have the power to dismantle patriarchy, oppression, systemic oppression, and colonization as we know it. So they're kept from us because you cannot expect an establishment to teach you how to dismantle it. Um, Yelling at you lovingly as an encouragement that every little action is a move toward the world we all can live in more freely, more justly, more whole. Okay, the link is in the chat for those of you that are looking into Hey Neighbor. Just go click the page. Just go take a look at it. Click it, open it now, come back to the Zoom room. It's cute. We wrote some things. We're yelling at you on the page that explains these details also. We leave you with this note. It is the paradox of our lives, perhaps, that we exist in this time and we are accountable backward and forward in time. While it is true that our bodies adhere to some linearity of time passing, it is also true that our memories are with us. Some might say our ancestors are with us, and that our progeny, our legacy is also with us, being woven in this very moment. And we are accountable to this so-called past and this so-called future. As the old adage goes, the best season to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And the next best season is today. There's more where this came from. We have a 22-page workbook for liberatory leaders. This is leading toward the 8-week intensive online training that starts in late July because fuck the patriarchy is a slogan, but it is not a strategy. And what we're offering in this leadership program, as evidenced by the couple of graduates that we have joining us today, is land-based leadership strategies, advanced consent frameworks, and the social and material infrastructure building that funds revolutions to fill the gap left by crumbling empire. We are not saying burn everything down. We're saying let us gather around what is worth midwifing into a new reality. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time and attention. I will now catch up in the chat and would love to hear any aha moments. Holy shit, this chat. I love you all so
I
much.
told you, it's been popping up the whole time.
Oh my goodness. Okay, quick temperature check. Aha moments, even just a couple words in the chat if you like, and just raise your Zoom hand if you would prefer to say your aha moment out loud. Chat's not accessible for everyone, and we'll do what we can to cover everybody to make sure everybody that wants to be heard gets heard. So if you want to share audio or to share by speaking, raise your Zoom hand. Otherwise, please share in the chat any aha moments that you'd like to share with us at this time. Meanwhile, I'm gonna just buzz through the chat. Oh my gosh. Fairy smut is good for your mental health. Yes. According to an actual neurologist. Yes, Leela. I wonder if we follow the same neurologist. Oh, the book list is going off. Strength training because strength training, Danielle, chop wood while camping after years of not even trying on a stop and go strength journey myself. Leela is determined to unpotato. I think potatoes are hot. See what I did there? A Danielle, thick floor pillow stuffed with old fabric stash. Oh, crocheted Christmas decorations. So much about roller skates. Monday $5 night at the aviary at the local park. Local independent movie theater. Amber says if the thing you want doesn't exist, host it. Shocked we didn't mention community theater. Listen, we were remiss. You got us.
It's a bit of a rabbit hole for us, you know.
Everyone help me bully Samantha into teaching improv online. That's all I'll say. I've said too much. Okay. Aha. Amber, I'm going to focus on 16 and 11, speaking to clarify my thinking and writing and editing. Amber, as someone who has been a grateful audience member to some of your writing, I think you're doing great. I think this is in progress. Monica, aha, I'm actually doing so much better than I thought. I have little seeds in so many of these areas, and that feels so supportive and hopeful to me. Thank you so much. Oh my God, I'm crying. Um, Also, I'm gonna start my period in like a couple days. So, but I also have a Pisces moon, so this is normal. I'm not blaming it on my menstrual cycle. This is just me all the time. Okay. Can you feel the amount of energy and nourishment just from locating what you're already fucking doing? If all we did for the past hour is prove to you in 17 different ways that you're already seeding revolution, like we're done, we're good, checkbox, we did it. Because there's just so much we can't possibly know about our impact. People are speaking reverently of you in rooms that you will never know about. People are loving you in conversations that you will never hear about. And I know that because my mom's a preschool teacher and she says that all the time because her preschool students come back to her and she would never know unless they came back. And so many more are thinking of her that don't have the privilege and the resources to come back. So just know that, girl, when you say hi to somebody, just on a human level, AI can't do that. Come on now. Eileen, this is how I felt, and a great little nudge to lean into so many of these areas even more. Yes, because you already doing it. I love the lens of disobeying on purpose is somatic rehearsal for bigger disruptions. Thank you. We wrote and edited that sentence in our refined thought. I think that was number 17. Haley started doing some of these things after living in a neighborhood for 3-ish years. I love that now I have some ways to deepen these connections and broaden them simultaneously. I've been waiting for this community to show up in my life. Yes, Haley. Amber, I'd like to share my neighborhood seating plan more widely. These ideas are so important. Please, Amber, if that's something that if that's a resource that you'd like to, you know, share more widely, holler. I got you. Samantha, I come. Oh, yes, we are pressuring Samantha. Yasmin, my aha moment. By loving the land under my feet, I love the land and the people of Gaza. That creates such a big shift in my feeling of agency and how I am in my body and can show up for other people. Yes, yes. When I love that which is far away, by the way I love what is here, transformation ripples. Transformation happens in a concentrated way. Monica's crying too. And you just finished your period. And there's like 15 emoji reacts like throughout our conversation. I love this. Okay. Now, thank you all for this witnessing. Amber, what a fucking magical gift the two of you are. Thank you for being so generous with your time and spirit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are at time. My gratitude, my love. We're going to keep the recording going for any of you that have questions. I don't see any Zoom hands raised, but please feel free to raise your hand if you so wish, You can also raise your physical hand, and I think the gesture recognition will catch you and raise your Zoom hand. Also in the chat, if you like any questions that you have, or if like you could even say like, "Hey Ihilani, hey Stephanie, give me a pep talk for when I will surely need it." We are happy to oblige. While you form your questions, there's a link that I forgot to grab for you all. It is the my neighbor, my actual neighbor. Like this, my computer is against this wall. This wall is the wall shared by my this neighbor, the one right on the other side of my computer, wrote a Substack. She has literally thousands of people that read her Substack. And the title of the article is I Live in a Commune, parentheses, not like that. And she wrote it about our neighborhood. And I will grab the link. You can actually you can just search it on Substack. Let me just put that. Yes. The Substack is Loose Fruit by Sid Gardner, and the one of the most recent articles is I Live in a Commune. She has given us all euphemistic names. I go by Stevie in that article. But if you want to read about some of the neighboring that we are up to, that started with two people knew each other, and now the group chat has 11 in it. And when I say, "Hey, gang, we we have a community need," it gets filled within minutes. Yeah, and that's what I call resilience. Okay, Amber, note to self, and maybe you too, don't forget the self-care things you planned after this call. Danielle says, thank you for sharing such an enriching space. I'm looking forward for the 2-week course. Eileen says, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have to hop off. I can't wait to put it all into practice together starting on the 15th. Amazing. Thank you all. I'm going to drop the, Ihilani, would you drop the link in the chat one more time?
Can
Thank you
do.
so, so much. So everybody's got a fresh link just in case you didn't get a chance to click it because the chat was going pretty fast.
Yes,
Go ahead
just
and click it now. Pua says, forever in awe of you both. This was so powerful, so validating in ways this already exists for me and expanding in how I can go deeper. The approach, the energy, the wisdom. Thank you times a milli. Heart, heart, heart. I love you both. Yasmin says, thank you so much. I appreciate your voices. Beautiful. Leela says, thank you for the reminder because I feel so delighted that I plan to go straight back to work, but I'm going to dance first. Yes, Amber, the work will still be there for you after. Leela, I've connected with some of you on IG. What a lovely group of humans. So you all know, as we are about to sign off in just a moment here, thank you so much for your ahas, for your reflections. No questions at this time, but my DMs are always open, and you can always hit reply to any of the emails that I've sent you. They come straight to my personal inbox or my primary inbox. There are over 150 people that are signed up for this free community class. There are about 20 of us that are here, 20 to 30 of us here live, and 150 more than that total. Okay. Um, just imagine the ripple effect that this is creating. Just imagine each little mushroom connecting subterranean to our experience across great distance, across digital space, across the streets and byways that we travel physically, reaching toward each other all over the world. This is what we build. This is how we turn the soil. This is how one act of connection or kindness or support in your hyper local environment reaches across the world because it matters. It makes a difference. You are perfect as you are. You have what you need. And because you have what you have, we have what you have, as you have what I have. Ihilani, any closing thoughts you would like to speak into this space before we say farewell for today?
I just want to thank you all for joining us today. Even the people joining via recording, I appreciate it so much. We feel your presence, and seeing your faces and knowing you're here and having this community to receive what we offer. It allows us to to keep going, to keep finding joy in these worlds that we're building together. So, yeah, just my mahalo, my gratitude.
Thank you, everyone. If you have the capacity to do so, we would love if you hopped off mute so that you can say things. Oh, Monica, I see that you raised your hand. Yes, please hop off mute.
Hey,
Hello.
hey, thank you so much. My question is kind of random. I just realized that another one of the participants messaged me and said they're also in my town, but then they left, and so I'm wondering if it's possible. Is there a way for me to like find them, even
I'll
though?
look through the chat for you. Monica, will you reply to any of the emails that I sent you and just say, "Hey, it's Monica from the call." And then I'll
Yeah,
I'll see what I can grab because I'll have to search through the chat and I don't want to do that right now while everyone's waiting. But I'm so happy to do that for you on the back end, like right after we close.
awesome. Thank you so much.
I'm
This.
so happy to do it. Are you kidding me? I just got all the goosebumps like a hyperlocal connection is happening right before our eyes. What?
Oh my God,
Look at
magic.
just look, everybody look at my eyeballs. It's happening. You it's happening. Okay? Okay? All right. I release you from my piercing gaze. It has already begun. Leela says it's 2:22. Girl, it cannot make this shit up. Give me a sign. Come on. Okay, as Monica did, yes. And if you would, if you can, even if you've been off camera or muted this whole time, please, if you can, let us hear your voice and just scream some appreciation or pep talk at each other briefly before we sign off. Um, no order, just go do it.
Appreciation.
Thank you. Whoop, whoop.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank
It's
you. And I love the
wonderful.
Liptos
Amazing.
hat.
And we love the fit stuff.
I don't like saying goodbye, so I'll see you all on Instagram in 30 minutes, all right?
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.